Everything that succeeds has its day, and for YouTube to prosper on the internet, its genius was to crowdsource. That meant the barrier of entry had to be low. All you need is a microphone, a camera, and a niche topic. Hopefully your niche topic has a refresh button. YouTube's low barrier of entry for creators built a low barrier entry audience by default. An ecosystem emerged out of diminished expectations because this was the only ecosystem available. Let's be clear, YouTube is not culture. It is mostly a form of journalism. By journalism, I broadly mean using a camera to document something, be it a person, place, thing, or event. It is not a personal art project or artistic performance. YouTube journalism may include tutorials, research, demonstrations, commentary, and reporting, but the subject matter is of general interest. The video you are presently watching falls under this description. Journalism has always had entertainment value, but the only culture it provides is disposable. This makes YouTube largely a resale store of repackaged information and media. The most successful YouTube channels, the ones that regularly put out new videos, are journalistic in nature. The best ones will even have original research. These channels attract capital. This pays for more researchers, and perhaps for a team of artists to generate CGI art and animation for content. Fern is one such channel, and commenters praise its production values and not using AI as a facilitator. The salaries paid these employees for their long hours of work may be a selling point at present because AI is considered such a scourge by a vocal minority of YouTube content consumers. And yet, these commenters who complain most bitterly about AI being used in any capacity may be less sensitive to independent creators who may have the talent but not the funds to pay for a staff of animators and researchers. In future, AI tools will be too attractive to ignore, and everyone will capitulate to incorporate them in some sense, especially if it enhances their turnaround times and bottom line. Moreover, for all the fraudulent ways AI abuses, it also provides opportunities for YouTube creators who do not have deep pockets. If the barrier of entry can be lowered by AI generating B-roll footage for infographic videos, then those who consume journalistic videos have no right to complain. Meanwhile, traditional YouTube channels, populated by talking head personalities who chinwag on current events and culture, may be left in the dust. Viewership is down across YouTube, and these creators are being forced to rely more and more on sensationalist thumbnails that, in some sense, misrepresent what is in the video. This sleight of hand will only produce diminishing returns going forward. Some explainer channels that make infographic videos, such as Imperial, complain that AI sloppers are stealing their style, if not always their content. But journalistic YouTube is ripe for this sort of theft because of its success and accessible format. When AI first emerged in the arts, the chief complainers were graphic artists and illustrators. Let me read to you from my website. When sci-fi fantasy art was being developed by the likes of Sid Mead, H.R. Giger, and Mobius, these were better defined as intellectual properties in a legal sense. However, by this late stage of the game, these styles have been fashioned into so many different alloys that it is hard to say whether originality in any sense still exists. Illustrators may be more sensitive to subtle differences between artists within a narrow and competitive style, but for an indifferent public, and perhaps for a jury composed of laypersons in a copyright infringement trial, these distinctions may be judged as less than significant. Regardless, illustration conventions may be seen as more low-hanging fruit, and AI art's rendering of these conventions is cosmetically good enough. And I do not imagine that AI art generators will be any different than any other commercial illustrator who is unaware that his or her welcome, though warm at first, will be worn out quickly. One might even say that AI art generators perform a public service by throwing shade into these corners. Its rapid-fire ability to ape these styles, and then to do one better by ornamentalizing them with over-the-top decadent flourishes, is to rush many an obsolete style to its quick and certain demise. This is also the bed journalism has made for itself on YouTube, and its participants have no choice but to sleep in it, bed bugs and all. When I see a new YouTube channel turn up on my feed, it is almost always someone with a microphone and a camera selling their own opinions about repurposed information and media, as if that is a thing anymore. Journalistic YouTube has entered its own decadent phase of ironic history. See my video on ironic history on the end screen. Where AI cannot follow so well is in the realm of fine art and creative fiction, partly because unique creators are more easy to recognize here, and so are more dangerous to steal from. Mostly, though, unique creators of this type are untempting targets because there's no payday where the audience is too small. Videos like this started turning up in my YouTube feed about a year ago. This is dazzling and hypnotic, to be honest, but this video is also based on pre-existing media, probably Technicolor test screenshots of aspiring starlets from the 1940s and 50s, and color television commercials from the 1950s. Here, mid-journey cheats, such as shadowy foregrounds, misty backgrounds, and static full frontal figures with limited mobility go well with the imagery of H.R. Giger's monochromatic alien designs and Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythology. Again, a pre-existing template provides the backbone. Moreover, these are one-offs with no other place to go. The problem with these products is that there is no story to tell, and even when stories appear, they will be disappointing because good stories and screenplays take years to develop. I will not be surprised if AI is turned to providing a facelift to old TV shows and movies. I am sure Hollywood studios are already thinking along these lines. Those stories are already written, and by talented writers. This repackaging will be of a whole new order. There are creators like myself who make original content, but it takes a while to make it, and no one watches because YouTube's algorithm is impatient for quantity over quality. I have created a YouTube podcast based on my first novel where I have not only written the book, but also created everything in the story from music to art. But no one watches it because there is no ecosystem for something like this because the barrier of entry is too high. Strangely, a new breed of creator is trying to create a new ecosystem on YouTube. One built around original fiction, such as I have created, except this original fiction is written by AI. Again, YouTube favors a low barrier of entry because of its structure. AI can write a short story in as little as 20 minutes, and it only has to be good enough. If AI graphics can be added, then that's all the better. Videos of this type are starting to turn up in my feed, but the viewership numbers for these videos are just as bad as my own, and yet these videos keep coming. It would be ironic if these AI creators blaze a trail where no one asked for it. Low barrier creators of low barrier fiction who create a new ecosystem where they are the consumers. This would be another version of fan fiction, but everything these days is a version of fan fiction.